Hey guys, Michael from Copper v Glass. I'm just going to be doing a very quick video for you guys now. I picked up myself a Nexus 7 the other day. I've had it for roughly about a week now. This isn't going to be a full review or anything. Barry has done a review if you want to check that out on the site. This is more going to be kind of my first impressions of the device. Obviously myself coming from a very heavy background of iOS usage, iPhone 5, iPhone 4, etc. I thought it would be good to kind of have a look at Android, see what all the fuss is about, and kind of, if you've seen some of my previous videos, you do know that at the moment I'm kind of on the fence about iOS, Android, whether to make that change and get the Nexus 4 device and sell my iPhone 5. Now I can tell you straight away that after having this Nexus 7 for about a week, I am pretty much sold on Android. I'm going to see what I can do in terms of getting my Nexus 4. Obviously they're quite hard to get hold of. But after using this for roughly about a week now, I am kind of sold on the idea of Android. The customizability of it is a big factor for me, and also just in terms of the apps and stuff, which is one of the things I was mainly worried about. There's pretty much everything here that I need or that I use on a daily basis. So I do have my Nexus 7 device here now. So I'm just going to kind of just go over a couple of key points that I do, or maybe that I don't like about the Nexus, or just in general Android basically. I did pick myself up a very cheap $2.99 stylus the other day, so instead of me using my fingers and getting my hand in the way, I'm just going to use a stylus so that I am kind of not as in the way on the screen. Now, one of the main things I want to talk about first would be widgets. Now, I've never really been a big fan of widgets. I can't really see the point, because usually, you know, if you want to get the detail, the level of detail that I personally want from an app or anything like that, I usually go into the app anyway, so having a widget there, a kind of slimmed down version of what I want to see, won't really come in that handy to myself. Now again, using Android has changed all that. For instance, on my home screen at the moment, I am very minimal with my home screens. You can see that I'm only really using just one home screen, and I've got one off to the left with my calendar as well. But on my main home screen I do have my clock. Obviously the time of the day is there as well, and obviously my alarm. My next alarm I've got set is for Saturday for 6:30, so you kind of see all that information there instead of just having a little clock icon up in the top. I've also got my battery percentage as well. Android, I'm not sure if it does or doesn't, but I haven't been able to find it yet. You can't enable a kind of percentage up on the status bar like you can with iOS. So I did download this clock application, which you can get more information up here in terms of how long you've got left and things like that, and you can then have a widget on the screen there. Now again, if you've seen any of my previous What's on my iPhone videos, you know that I'm pretty much a hoarder for weather applications. So again, I've just got weather up on here telling me obviously my location, temperature, kind of a 3 or 4 day forecast and things like that. And again, these here, if you tap and hold, are fully customizable. You can move them around to where you want. You can resize them. For instance, if I just do this one here, brings up a little box on the outside, and I can slide that across, make it bigger to fill more of the screen real estate basically. So again, very easy, very customizable, and obviously to get to the widgets you can either hold down on the home screen itself. No, sorry, that's for the wallpaper. If you go into the app tray, sorry, I'm still getting used to it. Across the top you've got apps, which obviously you've got your pages of apps just here, and then also if you keep going, you've got your widgets here basically. So again, very nice in terms of the kind of layout and things of the design as well. Now again, the speed of the device was another thing that was worrying me a bit. Using older Android devices, I did kind of think maybe the speed of the device was going to kind of be a bit slow, be a bit laggy and stuff. And to be honest, probably a combination of Android 4.2 and also Project Butter, it is one of the smoothest touch experiences that I have had basically. Obviously along the top you've got your kind of two kind of drawers basically. Instead of on iOS you just have the notification tray, and you've got one over this side which has your notifications, also kind of things that you can interact with. So like I say here, I've got my battery indicator here telling me, you know, kind of a graph of when my battery is going to be running out, so that's real nice as well. Got 8 hours and 17 minutes on here. Battery's real good, which we'll get to in a minute. Also on this side here you kind of have your kind of profile and quick access tray. So obviously you've got your own kind of Google profile information there. You can change the brightness, settings, Wi-Fi, turn on or off, auto rotate, airplane mode, etc. So again, real nice in terms of having those quick toggles there. Some of them do go into the actual settings, like obviously if you click on the Wi-Fi one, it doesn't just turn it on or off, it will go into your Wi-Fi settings. Obviously settings as well does bring up the settings menu, which I'll just do for you guys now. But overall, the actual experience of just what you can get just from the home screen, for me, is a lot more information from what you can get on iOS. Now, obviously, I am using a Nexus 7 at the moment, but the experience will be pretty much exactly the same on the Nexus 4. Apart from to get to the two separate menus, you have to slide down with either two fingers or one finger, basically. Now, in terms of the actual Google experience as well, which we'll go on to now, obviously I am kind of in that Apple ecosystem. I've got myself an Apple TV, I use iTunes religiously, I've got my iPhone, my MacBook, etc. So again, I was wondering how that would translate over into using Google compared to using Apple products, basically. And again, the transaction is seamless. Obviously, there's a lot of Google apps, basically, calendars, you know, Google Plus for social networking, Maps, YouTube, Google Earth, Gmail, etc. And you can basically set up all this from your computer. For instance, I imported my Apple iCal calendar into Calendars. When I go into there, it's now going to all be there. If I edit on here, it'll kind of edit it within the Chrome browser or within the kind of Chrome ecosystem online as well, basically. So again, the transition over to Google was very, very simple. Obviously, I use the Gmail, Maps application, Google Plus, YouTube on my iOS device at the moment anyway. So again, transitioning to that isn't really that big of a problem to me either. Now, the only downside really from kind of what we've got along the bottom here would be Chrome. Now, Chrome is a very, very good browser. Again, you can kind of do you know, as many tabs, you can have unlimited tabs, which with Safari there is a limit. I'm not sure what that number is, but with Chrome there's unlimited tabs. But it is slightly laggy in terms of scrolling around and things like that. So if I just go to just one of my bookmarks real quick, I'll get maybe not a kind of text heavy. For instance, if I do, a good one to test it would be The Verge. It's got a lot of pictures, a lot of text. So we can just have a quick look now. Apologies about if it does go slow. My Wi-Fi in my flat is pretty terrible, but we'll wait for that to load now. But in terms of just kind of panning around and things like that, in Chrome, it does maybe go a little bit slow. I do like the fact, obviously, that you can pick up your desktop browser tabs and have them on here. And also, if you're using Chrome on your iOS device or any other device, you can pick up any tabs from there as well, basically. So if we just have a look now at the Verge, you'll see, you know, very nice in terms of the screen, amazing screen actually. Just scrolling around, kind of going up and down, you can see that there is a bit of lag. I am using a stylus. Even if I use it though with my finger, the lag is still kind of present, basically. Again, double tapping and things, a little bit of lag to kind of go in and out, but really nothing too kind of big a deal, basically. I mean, I do browse the web and things on here, but again, it's not really a huge problem for me because, you know, I can deal with that. You know, there are some sacrifices. There's sacrifices with every device, basically. There's not one perfect device out there. The iPhone has its flaws, Nexus has its flaws, Google has its flaws, etc. So I can live with that. But like I say, the actual lagginess on the web page and stuff, again, not really too much of a problem. One more thing that does kind of lag a little bit would be the rotation. So again, if I'm now holding my device real quick, go back into Chrome. So if I'm now going from portrait to landscape, you see that there is a bit of lag for it to kind of resize and to kind of reposition itself, basically. But then again, I'm not really going to be rotating this device a heck of a lot, so not too much of a problem. Now, going on to maybe my last point would be kind of the main thing I was worried about from transitioning from Apple over to Google was the app ecosystem. Now, obviously, the App Store on iOS is arguably, I personally would still say, the best app store that there is at the moment. In terms of the actual quantity of apps, in terms of the quality of the apps, it can't really be beat. Now, the Google Play Store is, though, starting to catch up. I mean, when you compare it to things like the Microsoft, you know, Windows Phone Store and things, and the BlackBerry Play Store and all this kind of stuff, then this is definitely second best compared to iOS, obviously, but it's still amazingly good. Obviously, you've got a whole array of stuff, obviously, apps, music, books, magazines, and movies and things. And again, the apps that you get on here aren't really that different to what you would find on iOS, for instance. I mean, there's maybe a couple of apps that are kind of iOS exclusive that maybe you can't get. But in general, the apps themselves, there's not really too much difference. Obviously, you've got, you know, Temple Run, Plants vs Zombies, Angry Birds, all the kind of regular apps that you would expect to find. But the Android version, basically, again, not really too much difference. Obviously, productivity apps and things. If I just go back to my home page and just show you real quick what I've got. Obviously, I've got my Google folder down here. I've got my kind of Play folder in terms of Play Music and my Play Store, very organised, and then my Games folder. Again, not really too much difference from what I'm playing on iOS at the moment. You've got Angry Birds Star Wars, Asphalt 7, Dead Trigger, Rayman, Vector, which is a real good free running game, Simpsons Tapped Out, which I am addicted to, Real Racing 3, and because of the Tegra 3 processor in the device, all these apps run extremely well. For me, even Real Racing 3 runs slightly better on my Nexus 7 than it does on my iPhone 5, which I was quite surprised at. Also, you do have in here as well your social apps, which I've downloaded as well, and again, they're not, some of them do maybe look like, for instance, they are phone apps that have maybe been expanded. For instance, if I just quickly go into Facebook now, I think I might be already logged in. Yeah, so you can see here from the tabs and stuff, it does maybe look like it is slightly a kind of blown up phone version, but again, it's not kind of bad in terms of the kind of, it's not pixelated or anything. It's not like a ×2. You don't have to like click a ×2 button to make it bigger like you do with maybe some iPad apps that are mobile apps that you have to expand and things like that, basically. And again, so yeah, social, you got Facebook, Flipboard, Instagram, Twitter, etc. So again, no problems there. And then lastly, got my kind of media folder. We got like 4OD, BBC iPlayer, Pocket Cast, Netflix, Marvel Comics. I'm just gonna have a very quick look at Marvel Comics here, because this is what I've mainly been using the device for, to be honest, is media consumption. In terms of things like reading books, reading magazines, watching videos and things. Now if I just go into mine here, I'm reading the Avengers storyline at the moment. Now if we go into, you can see that the actual screen and things does look very nice. I'm not sure if I zoom in whether you'll be able to see just how good the actual quality and stuff is, but like I say, it is very nice in terms of what you can or can't see. Obviously you can kind of do individual bits like that, basically. May not look great because obviously I'm doing it on my camera, but no, but very nice. And like I said, that's the main reason why I've really been using it for media consumption, to looking at comic books and stuff, because the screen is really nice. So just kind of a roundup now. Like I said, it's not a full review, it's just kind of my thoughts, my opinions, basically. I really love Android. I do hope that they continue with the innovation that they're going through at the moment. I hope they do not go the way of Samsung or HTC with things like Blink Feed, with things like the Samsung Galaxy S4, swiping pages without touching the screen, just things that kind of waste the battery and aren't really that great. I hope they don't really go down that route, because Android, pure Android, to me at the moment is very nice. So yeah, that's pretty much it really. That's kind of the roundup. Like I say, not really any issues with Android. Not many issues with the tablet. Like I said, I'm not going to do an actual review of the tablet itself. Like I said, Barry has gone over that already. But again, loving the tablet. Very nice build quality. Very nice screen. Speaker is good as well. So yeah, I can't really fault it, to be honest, in terms of what you can or can't do on the device. So yeah, like I said, I would highly recommend at least having a look, basically. You know, I'm not going to say that everyone needs to then run out and switch over to Android or anything like that, but you know, I really do like it. There's not really a huge problem. See here, Jelly Bean, real nice. So you know, really good in terms of the hardware and things. You know, can't really fault it, to be honest. So like I say, I'm Michael from Copy Glass. This has been my first look, kind of looking in from an iOS perspective at Android, and also briefly at the Nexus 7. I'm going to do a lot more videos on the Nexus 7 and things, and hopefully when I get my Nexus 4 I'll be doing some videos on that as well. I'm not going to stop doing iOS videos, because I'm still going to have an iPhone 4 and things, iPod Touch that I can do some videos on as well. So like I said, tell me what you think in the comments about whether you have or haven't made the change recently to Android, or just if you know what you think about me making the change, for instance. I'd love to get your feedback and things. Don't forget to subscribe and also like the video, it does help us out a bunch. And I'll catch you next time in the next video from Copy Glass.